Jeff's on his way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing on the agenda would be public speaking. Anybody got anything to say? Or?
Yes. I'd like to make a request for the truck that had the catalytic converter stolen. I would like the number for that, and I'd like to see the receipts for the repair of that vehicle.
Do that. You had the receipt, right? Okay. May I ask why?
Because I'm interested to see how the repair was done. I find it interesting that you had an opportunity to file an insurance claim for that, and you chose to pay out of pocket from the township funds to repair that vehicle. Why wouldn't you make the best choice for taxpayer funds and go ahead and file an insurance claim on that?
Well, if we filed an insurance claim on it, probably would have been a week or two before we get the truck fixed, for one thing,
I understand that.
because we needed the truck to mow cemeteries with, so we had to get it fixed so we could operate it.
Alright, I mean, I get where you're standing, but I still would like to see the receipts for the repair on that. Did you take it to a repair shop, or did you guys
Yeah.
fix it in-house?
No,
Alright.
I'm fair shop.
That's all I had.
I have a couple things. I want to give you this letter. I mailed one, and somehow it got lost.
Yes, and I did receive yours, and it's in my correspondence, the new one that you sent.
Yes, there should
Yes.
be two. One to see your bonds.
I have not
Okay.
received that one.
That's fine.
I'm-
That's one of them that got lost.
No, sir, I
And there
have
was-
not seen that one. The one that I have is the one about,
A writ of mandamus.
yes, for Young Road.
Okay, well then I won't mention that if you have it, but
I do, it's in my correspondence to
That's-
go over, that was.
That is
but
fine.
That's all I have seen, sir.
That's fine. It should have been here a long time ago, but. Has anybody registered with the Public Works Commission on, you were here at the last meeting, Bob,
Right.
to get the loan to fix Young Road.
He was checking into that,
Who's he?
Ransom. What did you come up with in
That we could get a loan. I did not check in to get a loan. We were looking at, phones.
It's the same application,
That's the reason,
whether you're getting a loan or you're requesting a grant.
that's the reason Mr. Maiden's coming here tonight to talk to us about that. He's on his way here, so.
Who is Mr. Maiden?
He's the
County
engineer.
engineer.
Oh, okay. I don't understand why he would do it, but that's your guys' business. I asked for a copy of the bonds, she's gonna get to the other,
I have here a letter or an email from John Gossett. He is the EMA director of Athens County.
yes.
I just wanted to pass along, I received all required documents from Jeff Maiden and pictures from Carthage Township to submit the grant application for ODOT Township Stimulus Grant. This grant is a stretch for the repair of Young Road. However, it is far better to deny funds than deny funds. I'm not trying to get them, I don't know why you put that in the claim. I started the pre-filing the application last week and I got it submitted this afternoon. I received a green check of acceptance. It's now a waiting game. Thanks to Jeff Maiden, Ransom Callaway, Bob Foreman for the data process. So this is for Young Road.
Okay,
So we have other people working on it too.
and that's a good thing. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at is you want to get a grant
Right.
through the Public Works Commission.
Right.
You have to register on their website.
We have done that.
I just asked
Right.
that and you said no.
I thought you talked about the loan thing.
It's the same thing.
We haven't registered for the loan, no.
Well, the grants or the loans through Public Works, for you to make a request for one, you have to register at their website. I explained this a month ago. And you haven't even done any research. You haven't even looked.
No, I will tell you that I have not looked.
It's
into
not
it.
your job.
In some ways, yes, it is. It is partially my job to make sure that things are facilitated, and I will be honest with you, I have not done any of that.
Okay, well, it's a long drawn out process to register. And that's what I said last month.
But we're registered for a grant, right? We turned in the paperwork for
Yes.
grant money, yeah.
Yes.
At
But,
any point in the future, from a certain date, and I believe it was July or August, you have to do it online. You can't do it unless you are registered.
yes, that is correct, and the two that I have submitted before for the OPWC grant had to be online, and yes, I've done them through line. The one for Jordan Road and the one for Young
So
Road.
you're registered.
Yes,
Well,
but,
That's what I thought.
okay, yes, we're registered.
Yeah.
But I did not realize, I did not realize that the loan and
it's the same paperwork.
and I did not realize that.
It's the exact same paperwork. You just have to designate whether you're wanting a loan or you're wanting a grant.
Okay. So then it needs to be re-registered with a loan information on it rather than a grant information.
I'm not sure about that. That's your guys' place to figure out.
I don't know.
Oh, so that took 60 days to get that answer. Holy shit. Whose name is on your credit card?
Mine,
That's wrong. It should be the township's name on your credit card.
okay. When we set it up originally, sir, I was not able to put it under. I
Then you
wasn't-
shouldn't have got the card. The law says that it'll have the Carthage Township name on the card. It doesn't say it'll have your name.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
And that's what I'm getting at. I'm not here to torment you people. I came here to try to see how things will run. And the more that I show up and I see how things are run, I bring something up and you guys just blow it off. Most of the things that I brought up are legally required by the law. And all you have to do is look at the law for what a township trustee can do or should do. And have you even read your responsibilities?
Yep.
Okay, do you know it says that you shall maintain the roads?
We're to maintain roads.
It
we're
says
to
you
take care of
shall
cemeteries.
maintain the roads.
Pardon?
It says you shall maintain the roads. Legally, shall means you have to do it.
Sure.
Just like you shall do an inventory.
Yeah, it says you shall do an inventory. You shall have the Carthage Township name on your credit card. It doesn't say it can be hurting. There is a whole process of using that credit card that needs to be complied with.
I thought it was in township name.
No, it's not. It's in my name. When
You'll have to explain that to me.
yes, I did, I'm going to explain it here. When I reapplied for the credit card
Yes,
through
ma'am.
US Bank,
Yes, ma'am.
the reason that we went through them is because they deal with government entities.
Yes, ma'am.
We were told, and when we filled out the paperwork, we weren't able to do it in Carthage Township's name. It had to be, she said, it has to be in an individual's name. She said, because you are the fiscal officer, it needs to be in your name. I had to supply my social security number and everything else with that.
I understand that, but when you're standing in front of the judge and the judge says, why isn't the credit card for the township in the township's name, but it is in your name. Are you gonna tell the judge because the bank wouldn't let me?
Well, I would tell him that I did not realize that the credit card was not to be in the township's name.
Then I would read the section on having a credit card.
And I will do that.
That's a huge liability for you
Yes,
that you shouldn't have had to.
you shouldn't had to have given them your information to get a credit card for the township, in my opinion. And if they insisted that that's what you had to do, you should have sought another individual or another financial institution to deal with. Because the law specifically says it should be in the Carthage Township name. And there is also a whole bunch of areas in that same legislation that tells you how to manage that card and who should have access to use
Yes.
the card and all that. Again, I'm not here to give you people a hard time, but the longer I'm coming, the less I really think that any of you have ever read the rules or the laws that you're supposed to be complying with.
It shouldn't be so easy to find laws that you're not in compliance with.
Yeah. Just minor stuff. Minor stuff. There's an exit blocked right there. You guys are on the fire department. You've got SCBA bottles over there. It's not how you're supposed to store them.
Well, them supposed to be hauled out here and give away.
Well, they've been here for a year.
Yeah, they've been here for a year, that they haven't been hauled out. Why would you give them away if they're not certifiable? They're trash. If you can't have them recertified, they're trash.
They were supposed to go somewhere, Chris was taking care of that.
It's just another example. There's too many examples of you guys not doing what you're supposed to do.
Right, and I will help you. If you would have been doing your stuff correctly, I would be at home playing a video game right now. You wouldn't have had this guy back here about Young Road. You dug a big rock out of Young Road, from my understanding, and caused it to wash out.
Well, that's what he says, but where we dug the rock at, I don't think it was in that spot where the slip is.
Did you call him and let him know that the county engineer was going to be here? Because he would probably like to have known that.
Jeff was supposed to call him and talk to him,
All right,
and I don't know whether Jeff did or not.
fair enough.
Alright.
'Cause I sent Jeff his phone number, and he was supposed to call him and talk to him, so.
I understand.
And really, again, I'm not here to give you a hard time. I don't want to give you a hard time. I just want you to do your job the way you're supposed to do it. Since I've been coming, I've seen funds misappropriated. You have skirted the truth on numerous occasions. And you come right out and ask you a question, and either you're not listening or you're not paying attention when you answer the question. Now, I'm done. Thank you. I'm sorry I took up all your time.
No more public speaking, we'll have a motion to, reading of the bill, the motion to pay the bill.
Move to pay the bills if funds are sufficient.
I second.
And Mr. Nutter is not here tonight because he is at work. I don't know if anyone put that or brought that up.
Yeah, he's got Shamrock into working tonight, he's supposed to be on. And that happens when you work at a plant. It happens when you work for the state sometimes too, though.
Yep, sure does.
Been there and done that.
We had. Sorry. we had Napa Auto Parts bill for $445.11. This was for a 12-volt battery, for a fuel filter, it was for brake fluid, it was for hydraulic hose and fittings, and it was for transmission fluid. That total bill was $445.11. A1 sanitation was $24. That was for the November sanitation, not sanitation, trash. And again, I don't sign the checks prior to the meetings, I sign them after we're done. Summers rubber, this was for a 12 by 12 by 74 inch, I believe it's a hydraulic hose with. And the other one is a 16 by 16 by 62 inch. One was $138.32 and the other one was $232.44. So the total was $370.76. Balm lumber. This was the culvert to replace the one that was damaged on Varner Road. It was a 36-inch. It was a 36-inch culvert. It was $2,495.40. And then we also had an asphalt blade, it was $159.95. There was a credit return, they had purchased a Honda carburetor, and then it was taken back, that was $50.80, but it was taken back and the credit of $50.80 was put back on our account. So the bond total bill was $2,655.35. We have Randy's Ag Parts. The total bill was $1,209.40. This was for a 3-inch hose and hydraulic fittings. That was $49.45. We had 20 gallons, I have to do my math here, 30 gallons of high guard transmission, and I'll get it wrong, because I always get it wrong. And then there was some tape and some fittings, and that total bill was $527.45.
That was for the grader.
That was for the grader. We had a coupler set, a nipple, and some hydraulic fittings. That total bill was $112. Then we had more hydraulic, it's the hydraulic transmission high guard, we call it high guard for John Deere, I don't know what they call it. I mean, I don't know what the specific name, but it's the hydraulic fluid for the case. It was $520.50. And did I do this one? I did this one already. So that total bill was $1,209.40. Tuppers Plains Chester Water, the total was $56.22. That was for the fire department and the township building. Truck sales and service.
What's everybody doing tonight?
How are you?
This was for I believe it was for a reservoir pan, but I'm not exactly sure because no one put on the invoice what it was actually for. I don't know what piece of equipment. It says RESVDRAI, so it has to be a drain of some kind.
Where it come from?
Came from truck sales and service.
Vendor.
It's what?
I asked
The
what-
vendor's truck sales and service, but no one put on here what the piece of equipment was for.
Well, it's probably for the newest ODOT truck, cause that's what we were buying parts for at that time.
Cause they don't put on here which vehicle it's for. So that's why I go ahead and pay it, but I have to ask you guys what it's actually for.
Yeah. The old truck.
Is it-
The old
what-
truck.
The old one or the new one?
What the new one? The only one.
The very dark truck. Okay.
I think we referred to it
That's what I
number
figured it was. It's for the one one that we had towed, correct?
Yep.
Randy Moore Petroleum, number 2 dyed unleaded is, or unleaded, cheesy cow. Number 2 dyed is $769.01, 87% octane was $437.04, and number 2 clear, diesel was $858.20. That was for November. That total bill was $2,064.25. Because they were finishing up the chip and seal, that's why they get the gasoline and the diesel is so much. Matt Cochran Trucking, from November, the first week in November, the total tonnage was 39 tons, it was $429.77. And for the second week in November, the total tonnage was 60.56 tons, the total was $666.05. So the total bill was $1,095.82. And all of that was for the chip and seal that they finished up. Atlantic Emergency Solutions, this was for an alteration to a coat, for one of the bunker gears. That total bill was $69.95. That was for the fire department. We had oxygen from Klein. That total was, $21.25. We have a Menards bill. I think I just, pardon me, we had, this was for the firehouse also, it was for a air compressor, and then the air compressor items such as the hose and the clamps and the repair kits for that particular item. That total bill was $627.54.
Is it an air compressor for a vehicle or an air compressor for?
Vehicles,
Just keep our trucks aired up.
vehicles.
It's a standalone unit, I believe, gentlemen, am I correct on that?
Correct.
It's a standalone unit that you.
So it
use
is an
to-
air compressor to generate air to put air in tires. It's not for a vehicle.
It is for vehicles.
It's
What
not
is
it's not a vehicle air compressor. The air compressor doesn't go on the vehicle.
Well, on your air brakes, on your trucks, when they set, they bleed off. So you have to
Right.
hook the air hose up to them to keep them charged up, so when they gotta run, their tanks are ready to go.
And that was all I was asking. It's not the air compressor that operates the air brakes on a truck.
No.
Okay, that was the question.
And I believe she said it was a standalone unit.
She did.
Question answered.
Valley View Towing, it's called Valley View Auto Parts and Towing, they're out of Nelsonville. We called them when the ODOT truck, at the last meeting, you all had said that it broke down. They hauled it for $350 to Marietta,
No,
no,
here.
to here, I'm sorry.
And then we got it.
Electric bill for the township building was $145.49, that's for the December, and the one for the firehouse was $183.96. And these get paid online, rather than doing a bigger check. Copy that from last time. That is it, gentlemen. Besides your check. The checks are the same as they were last time. Rob was $778.19. Chris's was $766.59. And Ransom's was $857.01. The actual gross, anyone wants to know, was $978.50 for Ransom. Chris's was $945.17 and Bob's was $945.17. And the reason they're different is because when you were hired in, you 2 people are hired in at 1 2-year increment, and then the other 2 people are hired in at the next 2-year increment. So what happens is you kind of get, lack of a better word, cost of a living raise. So those that are in office receive the increase, and those that are in already don't receive that. It's kind of convoluted, but that's how we do that. So I would think everyone would think the same, but that's not how they do that. Oh, sorry. $1345.65. That's all the bills that I have as of current. So for the total payment for, including payroll for the month of November, from November the 2nd through December the 6th, was $46,660.60. So we need to pay it out.
When do we make our payment on our truck? Last
It's
day?
not due until January. It would be the last payment, so it's around $14,000. I don't remember the exact amount, but they send us a statement.
That's the only payroll we have. I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, Jeff. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm Jeff Maiden, I'm the Athens County engineer. I'm down here to talk to you guys today. There's been a lot of talk about the Young Road slip, and just wanted to, I've watched some of the video on YouTube, and so if there's any questions, anybody got any questions they want to ask me, I'll be happy to answer them. I've got all kind of answers here today.
The gentleman that is mainly concerned isn't here.
Yeah, I wish that he was here because he's
Yeah.
most affected by Young Road. So
He lives on Young Road, I do not.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll watch the video though. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I can come back next month or whatever, I can go over what we're doing with it. I'll be happy to wait around.
I really don't have any questions about fixing the.
There's a lot of talk about grants available that they didn't apply for, and so I.
Correct.
I think bottom line
It
is
was,
that-
somebody was asking these guys about that. I think,
Yeah.
About
Well, I did.
grants that were
Grant,
available. I know about grants, I brought my
I-
annual reports, I showed $10 million worth of grants I got
I
in 2
understand.
years. I know about all the grants, I know where they all are, I've helped these guys.
Then will you pass that information on to them?
I have worked with them.
It took me 60 days to get an answer that they were actually registered with the Public Utility Commission. They don't even know whether or not they have access to the website. But then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I got that, I do that.
These guys are good trustees, I've dealt with both
I
of
don't
them a
believe
lot.
that. I don't believe
I've
that.
dealt with, let me talk for a minute, I've dealt with both these guys a lot, on a lot of different issues, I've helped them get funding on, I've looked at a number of slips, we got Jordan Run funded, that took a while, but these things, the money just doesn't fall out of the sky, that was $350,000. And to get that kind of money for a little township, part of the problem with getting this township funded, for this slip, is we got another one funded, the biggest one in the state for a township. Jordan Run was $400,000 or something. And when you applied for that OPWC grant last summer, I talked to Donna Kirkbride, the region director, and part of the hesitancy to want to fund this one is they got the biggest one funded before. So bigger than any other township in the state, I believe. So we're getting the money and bringing it in. And so that's all. I mean, I've watched some of the video and I've seen, some of the attacks on me and these guys. And I'm just saying, I worked with them on the Rumas over there on the development of the stone quarry. I worked with Bob and Ransom both on that, and we developed a road user maintenance agreement with that company that's developing that.
And
They'll
when
take care
did
of the
that
road.
take place?
Huh?
When did that take place?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Couple
It's been a
years
while
ago. Okay, fair enough.
18 months ago. It wasn't very long ago, but we had public
I think
meetings
it was
down here.
2019.
Yeah, and I attended the public meetings,
Okay,
the
cool.
2 major rig meetings we had, 2 or 3, and we met with the contractor 4 times for that. I mean, there's a lot of time we spent trying to work out some of these business deals.
Sir, I don't think anybody was attacking you or your office,
Yeah.
especially that gentleman over there. He
Yeah.
said he's been in direct contact with you.
Yeah.
They have just been trying to figure out what these individuals have been doing to try to get the road repaired.
Right.
And bottom line up front, I think those guys just want to know
Right.
what's being done and when is their road going to get fixed.
Well, Jeff has worked with us to sue FEMA, he's worked with us to the Young Road thing. He filed
OPWC.
papers to Donna on the Young Road, which is, Iowa Public Works. He done that for us. He had
We
a
did the
real-
engineering design on Jordan Run. We
But
never
he's-
do that.
That's not his job.
Yeah.
It's not his job to do that for you. You're supposed to do it. If you have a question, it's his job to answer your questions if you ask for help.
But sometimes, what you don't understand, sometimes us trustee can't get the money.
It's
We
not,
don't go to the county engineer to help us out to get it.
Bob, it's not about the money.
Huh?
It's not about the money. I understand, money's tight. You're gonna have to struggle to get money. I understand that. But what did you do in 2 years to get it done? You missed a deadline, you
You didn't even go out and look at the road. It's stuff like that is what everybody was bringing up. The point is they wanted to know what had you done to try to get this fixed.
as a representative for the township people, we wanted to know what you did.
But I don't think anybody was
You-
attacking your
and
office.
nobody
sir.
was attacking the.
Well, see, I'm the
office.
engineer for the township.
Yes.
I know.
I'm their
Yes, sir.
engineer.
No, you're
So-
an engineer for the county.
No, I'm engineer for the township too. I am the engineer for 14 townships, so I help them. When
Okay,
he calls
you
me, I
do
come
help.
out. He called me and told me about the slip, and I went out and looked at it and put a cost estimate together in August of 2020. And we've been
Right.
trying to get funding since then, and it's not that easy.
And
It's
it's
really
not.
not
That's
that
when we
easy.
registered with the,
But they call me, cause I'm the engineer, and then I come down, they don't have nobody in the townships has the expertise to put a cost estimate together and determine what needs to be done to fix that slip. I'm the one that does that. And most county engineers in the southern half of the state don't have the skills to design these slips. I was a consulting engineer and a contractor before both, so I know how to do it.
Okay,
They
and
call
that's
me
good.
sometimes and ask me, so I'm down here helping these guys when they call and ask for help.
And
I'm
that's-
saying, so you guys are kind of, and so the reality is, we work with the townships and we guide them through the process.
I understand that. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah,
so,
And-
okay.
And when the question is asked, well, Bob, what have you done?
He couldn't say
He
anything.
can't say, oh, I contacted the engineer and he's doing this.
Right.
Well, I contacted the engineer 60 days ago and he's doing this. Well, where's he at? Have you checked with him recently?
That FEMA money, they got approved for it, and they didn't even know that they had the money because they never followed up with it. It just surprised them one day. That's the kind of examples that we're talking about with them. Nobody was attacking your office.
They're not attacking their office.
Right.
We're saying they're not doing,
They're not being proactive.
Yeah.
they're not going out and trying.
Well, this particular slip is a difficult slip to get
Yes,
funded.
sir.
I'm not
I
saying
think we're
it's
gonna get
not.
funding, we're really pushing hard to get this, and so we're working through every channel we can to get this done. And I would tell the other gentleman that was here, if he wants to come by I met with him once in my office.
Yes, sir.
I haven't had time, I was out of town, but he's welcome to contact me, come talk to me any day, I'll call him myself, he gave me his phone number, I haven't got that done, but I've got all the information that we need. Don't
Do you have
necessarily-
any anticipation on when the funding might drop?
I can't
Like,
predict that.
I know.
I mean, I can't. There's slips that, ODOT's probably got 300 or 400 slips. If you notice what they do, they pave over the road.
Yeah.
The pavement gets thicker. I've got one slip on County Road 20, the asphalt 6 foot thick. I've talked to ODOT District 10, they had one down in Lawrence County, it was 13.5 feet thick. And they move and they pave over them year and year because they don't have the money to do it either. So the reality is, the money's hard to come by. We make temporary fixes, we pave over these roads. Now, this is a different situation.
It's
But
unique.
I mean, this is all over the state. There are thousands.
And I understand that. And those individuals
Yeah.
that live on the road, all they were initially looking for was to
Yeah.
know that their elected representatives were trying.
Yeah.
And they
Doing
weren't
something.
getting that feeling.
Right.
And that's why all of you feel like your office is being attacked, because they weren't getting any communication, and they live with this daily.
Yeah.
Everybody sitting at that table doesn't drive on that road.
I work with Jeff's office up there for one reason. He has a real smart young guy in there and how to do this paperwork, right? Johnny? and he knows more about getting this paperwork done than I do.
And that's fine, Bob.
And
it's
he-
good that you work together.
So
But when somebody asks, what have you done?
so I don't know why I'm not doing my job if I'm trying to get the money. If
But
it's helping me get
if
the
you had
money.
explained all this 6 months ago, those individuals on Young Road would probably be a lot less frustrated with you. I can't speak for them. I don't
No,
live on
yeah.
that road. I can just tell you what I get from interpretation, and I can tell you that they're watching the videos on YouTube and they're seeing how their questions are being answered. And when you're already frustrated, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I know you said that you got the money, or you're hoping to get the money. You think that it's going to be approved. You have no idea
It's
when
a-
it will be approved.
It is such a problem in southern Ohio that last year, the Ohio Public Works Commission, we typically have $3 million a year for all southeastern Ohio for emergency slips. Because there are so many. They approved 15, the County Engineer Association has been lobbying the Ohio Public Works Commission. They approved $15 million effective July 1st, and most of that money's gone. There's still some there. I contacted them about this money for this job. And that's part of the response I got. Well, they got $400,000 not very long, or $350, whatever it was for Jordan Run. And so they were looking for some other funding to with it because it's such a huge part of that money. But the reality is, there are so many. In 2018 and 2019, we had FEMA emergencies both years. We had more rain in those 2 years. You had probably any year in the prior 20, and so the weather's changing. 2020 wasn't a lot different. There wasn't enough damage to bring the federal government in. So we had state disaster relief funding, but we never know when we go into these things. But we had 3 different dates in 2020, in March, May, and June. But they're calling us all the time, and they're saying, well, start assessing your damage, because we have to have about $300,000 in damage in Athens County to begin a disaster, to get any money. And we have to have like 40 million in Ohio to bring FEMA in. And so what happens is, once we have all these storms, they contact us. Really, they contact Don Gossel, but then before Don became the EMA director, we essentially did all that job work too. We were doing the EMA. I was doing the EMA job and the county engineer job, because they really didn't have anybody else there that was really doing it. And so they contact. I've got a direct relationship with the Ohio EMA. They contact me. We go out and start trying to contact everybody, or anybody calls us, they got slips, we're out looking at them. We're putting in all kind of time trying to assess all that damage, because we're trying to get that aggregate amount so they can declare a state emergency and we can get some state money. But if we don't have, like, it's $250,000, $300,000 in Athens County, we don't get anything. And so we start building it, and then they give us dates. They'll say, well, it has to happen between the 3rd and the 10th of June, for instance, this one was. And so we don't know, we have to prove that it happened within that window. If it happened on June the 2nd or June the 11th, we're not supposed to include it. So it's really complicated, really difficult to get this stuff funded. We're working hard to do it all the time. And so it's not a matter of I guess that's the frustrating part, is we're busting our butts to try to bring the money into the county and take care of this stuff. It's a tough job. It's tough to prove it to them that when it happened, we're taking pictures, trying to show when it happened. And sometimes we're going back. Stuff happens, we're getting cracks in the road. Well, if the cracks in the road develop during that period of time, does that count? Or does it actually have to drop 2 feet? If it drops 2 feet after that happens, does that count? And those are the kind of things we're dealing with on a daily basis, in addition to all the other stuff we deal with. So it's, so I guess I get frustrated as I watch what's going on, because I don't think it's all accurate. And I want to come down tonight, not to piss anybody off, but just to have a conversation, kind of explain the process of what we do. And these guys have been good. We try to help them when we can. I got a young engineer that works for me, and he helps them with all the paperwork. He's worked for me for 16 years. Hired him out of college. He's a great engineer. And I work, and when they got a slip, I personally go out and look at them myself. I don't send him. I go out and look. I've looked at probably 100 township slips since I've been in county.
So you've personally seen Young Road?
6 times.
Okay.
I was there today. I've been there 6 times.
So you went there today?
And how many
I was
times
there
have you
today.
two looked at it?
That's good to know. I'm
That is
glad.
good
I'm there
information,
5 or
yes.
6 times. I was there today taking pictures.
That shows that we have an elected individual that is invested
Interested.
and interested. And I think that that's part of the problem with the individuals on Young Road. They weren't getting that warm fuzzy from our elected officials here locally. And they needed to know that somebody cared because they have to deal with that every day. But I'm glad that you went out there and looked at it.
Yes.
I was there July 29th a year ago. I got the estimates to Bob on August the 11th, my birthday last year.
About every time he's out there, I'm out there with him.
Yeah.
But
I'm
you
going
didn't-
sometimes
you didn't-
to
You've
look
never
at it.
said that
You
before,
didn't say
Bob.
that, Bob.
You've
We've
never
asked.
said
I
that.
didn't,
We've asked you a dozen times how many times you've gone and looked at it, and you ain't answered once.
But thank you for going out and looking at it.
for looking.
If
at
I'm
it.
down
We
in this
appreciate
area,
it.
I'll stop and look at it, see what the situation is.
Yes, sir.
And Bob has met me several times out there. I don't know, 2-3 times
Okay.
anyway.
Well, I'm
And if
glad to
I
hear
don't
that.
always call him if I'm down in the area.
When
I'll
you
stop
asked
and
me if
look.
I've seen Young Road, I said, yes, I've seen Young Road. Did you not believe me when I said that?
I don't remember asking you if you
I
said
don't
we was
that.
out there
Yes,
together
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
We
I'm
had
glad. I'm
one
sure
of
that
our
those
workers out there
individuals
with
on
us a
Young
couple
Road will be
weeks ago,
relieved
so-
to know that you personally have gone out there. They'll actually probably be satisfied to know that Bob has been out there to personally see it.
I've got pictures on my phone that
Well,
document that I've been there.
But sir, if you go back and look at YouTube, you can see all the videos where the question has been asked. It's right
A
there.
dozen times.
There's
I
no
had to
secrets
ask
here.
4 questions.
And Mr. St. Angelo knows I've been out there several times.
I'm not trying to bash you guys right now. He came to speak. He has all the information that those individuals on Young Road need.
Yes, Ms.
I would
May,
love
we
to hear.
appreciate it.
Yes, I would love to hear anything that you have to say to those individuals that are affected by this, because people can email me and ask questions because I can make it to these meetings on a regular basis. I'm not as articulate as that individual is. That's a very intelligent gentleman that comes to this meeting. I
Yes.
wish he'd been here tonight to actually ask you personally.
And he has nothing bad to say about you. He actually has complimented you on several things.
Yes, I don't think that there was anything other than maybe some comments made by trustees that might have been inappropriate towards you. I don't think that any voters have made
Right.
comments bashing your office or speaking negatively about your office.
Well, yeah, I'll say this. Chris came to my office one day and he said he was under a lot of heat on this.
Yes, sir.
And I told him that we have been able to get funding on it. I told him he could use me as an excuse
Yes, sir.
if he wanted to.
Yes, sir.
So I saw that.
And he did.
And he said that I forgot to do something,
sir.
and I told him he could do that, and that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that.
Yes, sir.
I was giving him an out on it because there's no out. Nobody did anything
Everybody's stuck.
wrong. Here's the reality: nobody did anything wrong.
Yes, sir.
Nobody dropped the ball anywhere.
Yes, sir.
And so when I saw that, I thought I threw myself under the bus for no reason because it wasn't Chris's fault.
Yes,
It was
sir.
my fault.
And
But
the people
nobody dropped the
believe
ball
that
on
he threw
anything.
you under
And
the
we're
bus.
not trying to say that
I know.
they
I just
have.
came here to clarify.
Yes, sir.
And
And I
I saw
appreciate
your
it.
video.
I
on
appreciate
And
that.
so that's what happened on that.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank
so it
you
wasn't
for
Chris's
clarifying.
fault. Wasn't my fault. It's just part of the difficulty of
It's an act of God.
not enough money
Yes, sir.
to do what we need to
And
do.
what I said at the meeting, he called me about it. We had probably an hour of conversation over it.
Yeah.
I apologize to the man, he accepted my apology. I also apologized for the last meeting.
Yes, sir.
About
I
the
know you
comments
did.
It's
I
on-
made.
it's on
I wasn't
YouTube.
man enough to do that.
Yes, sir. It's on YouTube.
But
But you get so frustrated up here sometimes, and I know he does too.
Bob, I wouldn't want your job. I agree.
Yeah,
with
I couldn't do it.
You. I couldn't.
It's
I
a
couldn't
rough
deal with
job.
us.
It's a really, really tough job
Yes, sir.
to do here. For no more money than we get paid to do this job.
This is a poor township. Yes, sir.
I agree with you. I wouldn't want your job. But when somebody asks you a specific question, you should try your best to get the answer. You should try your best to look for the answer.
Most of the time I do, but sometimes I screw up. I'm just human. I bleed, I pinch, I hurt. I'm just human.
I understand that. But over a year's time, again, I'm not trying to torment you guys. I'm trying to get you to do your jobs the way you should do it. You're a member of the Township Coalition or whatever it is. What's it called? I forget.
some sort of township association.
Some sort.
Association.
High Township Association,
Yeah.
Okay.
and County Township Association.
Right, you're members of that. They have resources. Did anybody tap any of those resources? Mr. Maiden, it's his job to assist you. There's some things that he has to be involved with, I understand that. But when somebody asks you how you're proceeding with something, you can't just say, well, we don't have any money.
Well, we've talked here about Mr. Maiden helping us get money to do this slip over here several times. And Bill knows that. I mean, we have brought it up in the meetings, that we talked to Jeff and we talked to Donnie. If I don't get to talk to Jeff, sometimes I go up there, Jeff's on the phone, and I don't wanna interrupt him.
Well, I understand.
So I talk to his assistant, Donnie, and get the same answer.
I think that's all that some of the
That's
people
all,
were wanting
but-
to know is that, hey, on Tuesday I went out there and talked to him. Yeah, next Tuesday I'm gonna go out and talk to him. I called this person. That's all they really wanted to know was that you were invested. I appreciate you coming out. That clarifies a lot. There shouldn't be any animosity between our trustees and your office
No.
because we need that. We need that. We need you guys to work together for us. I'm
Ever since I've been
thankful
in
that
here,
you came
We've
out.
had a good relationship with the Acton County Engineer's Office up there. Even when Archie Stanley was in there, we had pretty good relationship with him. So,
And it's,
you got to.
And I would hope that you did, yes. You should.
But-
But you have to be more.
You guys got any more questions for me?
No, sir.
No,
Thank,
sir.
thank you for
Thank you.
coming out.
Thank you, Jeff, appreciate it.
We do appreciate your
Yeah, well,
Candor.
stay
Well,
safe.
yeah. Yeah.
What's, how much difference in damage from now, from 20 to now, have you seen?
I went out today, and I'm pretty conservative when I put those estimates together. And so, I've got the estimate the same today,
Okay.
but I've got the wall shorter. I went out and measured the length of it today, and I feel like it's progressed, and there's a lot of rock in the ground there, so I feel like we can shorten that wall. I got it at 140 feet, it might even go shorter than that. So, I've cut about 44 feet out of the length of the wall. It's gonna take more fill, but I put some ditching in there, and I put some, just finished, I've been in my office 11 hours today. I got in here at 8 o'clock this morning, I just left at 7. And that's a typical day for me here as a county engineer, and everybody else went home at 3:30, but I'm still there. My whole office staff, they all left at 3:30, I left at 7. So I want to come down here tonight, I want to get ready for this tonight. So I think we're fine. I put in new gravel on the surface all the way up. I put in ditching along the sides. Put in some fill because it's dropped pretty good. We'll build a wall there. We'll fill that area in between the wall and the rock face that's there. And so I think it'll be a better road when we're done, and I think we'll get the funding. I'm doing things no one else can do. I'm doing things that the commissioners can't do. That I'm trying to get some things done at the state. And trying to get the thing done. So we're trying to put different funding sources together, and
We
I don't know
appreciate
all
it.
the details now, but we're gonna see what we can do to get it done. It's
Did
a lot of
you see
money
the-
for a
Did
small
you see the email?
road like that, they look at the big thing they look at is like your average daily traffic, how many people got using it. How many people are using that road?
I understand.
And it's an important road, everybody lives there, but if there's 25 or 30 homes there, then you got another road that's got 3,000 people using it. Well, up there to state, they're looking at all these different things.
Yes,
I
So
know
sir.
that.
we're pushing hard because they don't wanna put that much money into one project. Well, maybe we can get some from them and some from them and some from them and put a package together.
And that's the kind of information that those individuals would have loved to hear. And I'm sure they'll see it
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, so
So-
that's,
We appreciate it.
I told
Thank you.
Mr. San Angelo a year ago, we would do what we could. But these things are, like I said, ODOT's got some, I think maybe the record in Lawrence County is 16 feet thick asphalt down on State Route 7. Because that's what you do. You typically just keep paving over them as long as you can until you can't do it any longer. So it's,
Did you see the email from Don Gossip that he sent me? I don't know whether you sent you any of it or not.
No.
for what? For
For Young Road, he applied for the, ODOT Township, stimulus grant.
Yes.
I'd like to read that.
I supported, I gave him a letter and some other stuff he
Oh.
He
needed.
says you sent him
Yeah.
some
Yeah, he
information.
needed information from me, so I
Yeah.
sent that to him, yeah. That stimulus grant, if we get $100,000 for the whole county, there's only $8 million available statewide.
Right.
So that works out to, if every township got $5,000, then that would be an equivalent, there's like 1,100 townships in the state. So if you take $8 million divided by, it's about $5,700 a township.
He sent it to the
If the whole
commissioners.
county got 90,000, the whole county got 90,000 out of that program, it'd be good. So I think I looked at the scoring system. When you apply for grants, you gotta look at the scoring system, you gotta look at what your opportunities. We could spend all our time, I could hire another engineer for $100,000 a year, and we could spend all our time applying for grants. But you gotta figure out where your best probability is. And so, I mean, literally, I could spend 40, 50 hours a week and not get any of them.
That's why
So,
it took us so long to get Young Road
yeah.
approved, because that was part of it. And then,
Yeah.
you know, we had to resubmit paperwork that said, you know, the bus travels just 4 times a day.
Yeah,
So, you know, there was also issues with
And
it
you know,
as
in
well.
all reality, Young Road is really a low priority when you get to the state level, when you get to
Yeah.
any of them.
yeah. Well, it's a pretty high priority right now. It is for me, and so I'm considering it one of the worst slips we've got in the county, and we've closed the road because of it. So it moves up above 4 or 5 other slips I got because of that. So I've told you that
Right.
I'm doing what I can, but I mean, it's like, I'll give you an example. It was brought up, this issue 1 program. I think somebody brought that up in one of these meetings. Somebody brought up this grant opportunity or something. Well, I brought the issue 1 applications. There's a meeting Wednesday over there. But I got a paving project in here. I thought, did somebody bring up in one of these meetings, the issue 1 program, just missed an opportunity to submit a grant or something?
I'm not
Not the
sure.
issue 1 program.
Issue 1, no, I haven't
All-
heard
All they
that.
said there was a missed grant opportunity, is all Mr. St. Angelo said.
Okay, this is what he's talking about. That's something I specialize in. And these are all the counties. There's 10 counties of projects that submitted. And those are all the ones that didn't get funded, right there. All those, and all those, 10 counties. And my number 1 project, the paving project that scored higher, was just right here, barely getting funded. Now that slip, if we'd submitted it, we could have taken the time to do it. It's a lengthy process. It'd have been down here someplace. But you gotta understand the scoring system.
I do.
And so, on issue 1,
Is that the same as through Ohio Public Works?
yeah,
Yes.
you understand issue
I
1?
understand some of the scoring system. I'm not saying that I'm fully aware of everything that's
There's
going on.
no way, absolutely no way, 100% that you could ever get that funded through this program.
I know that, but you could get a loan.
That's questionable. That's questionable because there's 2 funds. There's,
You would score higher if you asked for a loan.
no, loans aren't that easy. I mean, you gotta look, there's another process on loans too. I got them all here. You want to look? I'll write this for you. I'll let you
It's
look.
fine. No,
I'll give this
it's
to
fine.
you if you wanna study it and become familiar with it.
Actually, I think I've already looked at some of these.
You look at
This
that,
is what's
there's
online.
some projects that were submitted.
Yeah, I think I've looked at this.
I've never
It's
seen-
online,
I have
correct?
never in 9 years seen any landslide project ever funded through that program. In 9 years, I've never seen one. I don't know if I've ever seen one even submitted in that program. Because it won't get the points you need. So a lot of it's a matter of understanding the programs and what's fundable. And that slip is not fundable through that program. Why waste your time on something that's 100% not fundable? 100% not fundable.
Okay, and that's fine.
I'm just here to tell you that. I heard the
I
discussion
appreciate
about
that.
it. I want you to know that because you brought it up. I want you to understand it.
But did he know that?
If I thought it was fundable, I'd have called him. How would he possibly know that? It's taken me 8 years to learn it, and I'm a professional engineer.
Well, I think this is just information that the little guy misses out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little guy needs to know that it's being worked, and we weren't really getting those vibes from our trustees. We appreciate you coming down and clarifying all
I
this.
help them. I'm
Yes,
helping
sir.
them, and I know they got this problem, and I'm out there looking, trying to help.
Yes, sir.
So that's a reality, and we would have submitted it there if it was fundable, but it's not. That's primarily the paving program. If I don't get one project funded a year through that program, we're not getting any paid in this county. That's primarily a paving program for county engineers and cities and villages and
Right.
sometimes townships. But the way the scoring is set up on that it's almost impossible. It is impossible to get SLIP funded. It's almost impossible to get water and sewer projects funded. And there's a process where you can rarely get one of those funded, but it's extraordinarily rare. So that is our only source of funding for paving projects, basically. And so it's really so I just wanted to bring that tonight because I saw that, and
Yes,
I
sir.
thought that's what you were talking about.
That's one of them, yes.
Yeah. So there's no reason it's a waste of time. And that's why I just wanted to. I'm sorry if I've gotten all excited here.
No. We
This-
appreciate the
we're all
information. That's what we're trying to
Yes,
get.
the,
is
Yeah,
peop-
information.
the people want to see you passionate about
Yeah.
getting this fixed.
I'm passionate about this county. I'm passionate
Yes,
about
sir.
these county roads and
And
these
that's
bridges.
good.
I'm
And that's
out here
why they voted
looking
for
at
you.
them. I'm out here looking at these roads and bridges. Out here at night, working. We work all the time.
We appreciate it.
If I didn't wanna get it fixed, I wouldn't be spending all my fuel running up to his office all the time either. I mean,
Yeah.
I won't talk my easy on fuel.
So
We do appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
very much.
Thanks, Jeff, appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Drive safe.
Tell everybody we said hi up there.
Okay, all right. What's your name?
Will.
Willie Guest? Oh, you're the new guy. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Willie. Yeah.
Jim Allen.
Jim, nice to meet you, Jim.
You too, Jeff.
You guys are
John? Yes, sir.
Mitchell.
Mitchell,
McBride.
okay. Mitchell McBride, John.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you want your,
No, I'll give it to you.
Okay,
If you
thanks,
want,
sir.
Give it, it's just,
I understand.
I got all
Thanks,
kinds
Jeff.
of stuff here, if anybody else
Thank you.
needs some information.
Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. See you later.
You have a good evening.
We'll proceed with reading the minutes.
Okay, your minutes should say October 4th. They should say minutes, regular meeting, November the 1st, 2021, Carthage Township meeting room at 7 o'clock. In attendance was Robert Bald Hollands, Chris Nutter, Ransom Calloway were the trustees, Gail Buckley was the fiscal officer, and the sheet for the attendance for everyone else that was here. Robert Hollands called the meeting to order with the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance. Public speaking, the fiscal officer was given papers printed by a resident about when and how often inventory needs to be done within the township. She was also given information about equipment used for recording the meetings. Mr. McBride stated that the township has 2 meetings to make a plan about inventory. Mr. McBride stated that he believed that the township was changing the minutes due to a correction that were made in the minutes. He also stated that OPWC funding doesn't carry over from year to year, that it has to be applied for each year. Mr. St. Angelo is upset about Young Road. He stated that ARPA funds was approved for the water that will be put on Young Road. There will be 3 hydrants placed on Young Road. Mr. St. Angelo asked Chris about meeting with the county engineer. Chris stated that he hadn't met with the county engineers. Robert Poland stated that he had made a statement in the September meeting. He was sorry if he offended anyone, and he was making a public apology. Mr. St. Angelo and Mr. McBride stated that there are loans through OPWC for roads. The trustees stated that they would look into the matter. Mr. St. Angelo asked about chip and seal on Young Road. Robert stated that Young Road would be a road next year for chip and seal. Tim Day asked about the counter near Lottridge Cemetery. A large tandem axle truck tore up a culvert between Charles Buck's property and Tim Day's barn. Robert Pollins asked for the bills and a motion to pay the bills if money is sufficient. Ransom made a motion to pay the bills. Chris seconded, all approved. All bills were paid and payroll was signed. Yes, all bills were paid and payroll was signed. Sorry, I didn't space between my lines, gentlemen. So the stigmatism, all bills were paid and payroll was signed and was given to trustees and the fiscal officer. Had a repair of a personal vehicle, Carl Pryor. He received rock damage to his Lexus while traveling on Route 50 in our township. Chris Nutter made a motion to draft a letter to send the bill to insurance for reimbursement. Ransom seconded, all approved. Jeremiah Hogan quit. His last paycheck was for 1 day. Minutes were read. Bob made a motion to accept the minutes. Ransom seconded, all approved. The correspondence was read and approved. The roadside park slip There is FEMA money set aside to fix the slip. Maiden suggests Buckley Engineering Group from Athens to do the engineering. Ransom made a motion to contact Buckley Group Engineering. Chris seconded, all approved. Old business, Sandrock Road has been fixed and the new owners have been notified. New business, employee business. The trustees laid Keith off for the winter, however, they needed to call him back until Eric is able to come back to work full-time as he was injured on the job. He is currently in therapy and working when he is able. Ransom made a motion to bring back Keith until Eric is able to return to full duty at his current wage. Chris seconded, all approved. The new business, a resident from Jarvis Road was an indigent burial. He was cremated for $1,000 by Jagger Funeral Home. The state will reimburse for the amount. Have to fill paperwork out with the state. The trustees made a motion to have Kirkshaw's office submit the paperwork since they have done them before. Chris made the motion, Ransom seconded, all approved. Robert made a motion to pay from the general fund. Chris seconded, all approved. The 2003 International truck broke down hauling gravel and has to be towed. Bob made a motion, Ransom seconded, all approved. The fire department, Ransom asked to get a quote for the tankless hot water tank and a sink beside the washer for the firehouse. Ransom made a motion, Chris seconded, all approved. Robert made a motion to adjourn, Ransom seconded, all approved.
Any corrections or revisions to the minutes?
Yes, possibly. That last sentence, Ransom asked to get a quote. We already had the quote. I asked for the quote to be approved.
For the quote to be approved. That was my fault.
I move to accept the minutes as read with noted corrections.
We'll put your signature right there and then sign that. Yeah, just leave it.
All in favor?
You made the motion, did you?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Correspondence? Is it cold in here?
Well, I got enough place for outside, so I'll turn it up if you want.
It's like
You guys
67 in here.
I'm fine.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I dress for outside.
Okay, as always, this was in the mailbox today, this is just for Jeffers Corporation, they're always trying to sell us Bobcat information. Received a Christmas card from Twin Oaks. We received, the firehouse received a Christmas card from, from HAL Rescue Systems in Athens, I don't know who they are, but it's HAL Rescue Systems, Country Club Lane in Athens, Ohio.
That's our supplier.
Mike.
We received a statement from Buckley Group. They are in no relation to me whatsoever. If you were wondering about my last name and their last name, it has nothing. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? No conflict of interest there.
Association.
I don't even remember where they're from, but, the cost for the field survey, the civil engineering, the bidding administration, the construction inspection was $5,500 for, roadside work, the landside, repair on roadside park. So, this is the information, we will pay it, and then it will be submitted, I will submit that information to email, which is the AHIA emergency, and then they will start the process of hopefully getting us reimbursed for that particular amount. I don't know how long that information will take, or how long that will take.
This goes to Laura.
Yes, as I said, it goes up to the AHIA, it's called EMA, it's not FEMA, it's the AHIA Emergency Association. So that information will be sent up to them. I received a postcard. It's from Candy Russell, the Athens County Clerk of Courts. It says payments can be made online, or you can make the check payable to the Athens County Clerk of Courts. So I turned it over, and it says, this is the Kenneth Turner versus Carthage Township Board of Trustees. I just pulled it out of the mailbox today. It says your court costs in the above captioned case are $60 for 60 days past due in the amount of $54.62. If the costs are not paid, you will be in violation of your court order and you will be turned over to the state of Ohio Attorney General. I didn't know we owed anything.
I didn't know we owed anything either.
I've never seen anything.
Because we never got anything from Kurt on that.
I tried to call them at 4:30. Of course, their office is only open till 4, so I will call them on my way to work in the morning to find out what this is. I will make a copy of this and I'll send it over to Kurt this evening before I leave to go home. As I said, I don't even know what the $54.62 is for.
I thought that was all settled.
I don't know, gentlemen, I'm just telling you what
The agreement was all.
yeah, so you can look at it if you want. We received from Jill Thompson's office, it's the 2022 valuation totals, for the different townships. You guys can look at those. I don't really understand all the different, I've got to call Tammy to find out, because I don't know what all. It's AGR, residential, I'm assuming that's agricultural residents, others, utility, real, utility, personal, and then total. And I'll just be honest with you, gentlemen, I don't understand what any of it is. Townships are here, city and villages, schools. So you're more than welcome. As I said, I don't know, I'm gonna have to call you anymore and find out. She just said it was the totals for next year. We did receive a letter from Mr. McBride. He had asked me about it last meeting and I did not have a copy of it. It's just a letter that says, "Dear sirs, as described in the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 2731, mandamus, I intend to request a writ of mandamus for the repair of Young Road from the Court of Common Pleas in Athens County. I am requesting that you make a motion at the next township meeting and bring to a vote the repair of Young Road as required by the Ohio Revised Code Section 5535.01. Classes of highway in Section 5571.02. Control and maintenance of township roads. These sections of the revised code state that you shall maintain the roads. They do not give you the option to maintain the roads as you see fit. You may place blame on whoever you like, but when all is said and done, it is your responsibility for maintaining the township roads in the state of good repair. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell McBride. So that letter came in, and as I said, we did have it. And then you would ask for another one, and I'll be honest with you, sir, I don't have any copies.
And that's
of
fine, it was for the copy of the bonds.
Okay.
That it was the,
And are you asking for the bonds that we have outstanding as far as loans, or are you asking for our bonds?
the bonds, a copy of the bonds, and I don't need a copy, I'd like to see them, of the bonds that you take out with the state when you are elected to
Okay.
office.
Okay. The bonds have changed, and they are now they changed them when I was reelected 2 years ago.
Yours changed. I
Mine
don't mean
changed,
everybody
yes.
else's did.
No, mine changed, and I'll be honest with you, sir, I can't remember what it's called. I will have to go look at my paperwork.
And I just wanna see a copy of it, because it is so confusing in the law as to what the requirement is and
And
anything else.
it's based, I do know that our bonds are based on how much
How much money you have each
thank
year.
you, how much money we have, and it's based on that, so.
Yes.
The smaller amount of your, oh my gosh, I can't even think today. The amount of money that we have, our budget,
Your budget, yes.
it's based that we have a lower amount of it, it's just like our pay is based on our budget, so. We received, from Jill Thompson's office, it's just talking about financial reporting procedures. When everything has to be in, when our end of the year reporting has to be submitted to their office, when our certificate of total amounts from all sources available, that needs to be in no later than March 31st. There's also the official certificate, they need no later than April the 1st, which is your permanent budget. Resubmit a temporary budget so we can operate from January, February, and March. And then in March, that's when our permanent budget becomes available. They're also telling us that anything that is to be placed on the ballot as far as the tax levy put on, it needs to be in, because they have changed. No, they haven't. The filing deadline with Board of Elections for 2020 is file 90 days before general election. So the filing deadline with the Board of Elections for 2021 was 11/8. You file by 8/10 to go on the general. The primary had to be filed in February to go on the primary in May. So those are they're just deadlines that we have to go by, and they sent those to us. Ashley Campbell, who is with the volunteer fire department up in Columbus, basically just sent us a little letter here that says, as part of the FVDF, each fire department member must annually establish a VFD, oh my gosh, that is so hard, a VFDF board comprised of 5 members that will be responsible for reviewing claims and making recommendations to SFM. It says if the need arises due to a line of duty, injury, or death, and provide the assessed value or the dollar value. We are a member of that, and that's what that does. That helps any volunteer firefighter if they are killed in the line of duty. It's a fund that goes to them. So it just says in the past the certification has been mailed. However, for the January 22 certification, this is available electronically at the link below. So again, most everybody is trying to go to everything electronic. So we got a new calendar from Otarma. Let's see, we have the information, the last grant that we were working on, trying to get funding for Blackwood and Kincaid. That information was submitted to the to Nicole Lawhorn through DOT Ohio. She was confirmation that she received the application, and there is no information on here as to how long it will take before they decide if anyone, who and when they receive the money. That's all I know about that one. That was a grant as well. Let's see, this was just a BWC seminar. They have several that you can watch. This one, they're talking about first-time employers, amended wages, payments to employers, different things like that. So some of them don't pertain to our township. Sometimes they do. We received information about a assistance to a firefighters grant, which is called AFG. It closes on Friday, December the 17th at 5 o'clock. There are several workshops that you can watch. Then Otarma sent one out through, and I do not know, and I'll just be honest with you, Tammy sent this one over. The following is the information concerning the AFG grant. And it just says Assistance to Firefighters AFG grant. And that's all the information that I know about it. It's through FEMA. It's through firegrants@fema.dhs.gov. The Fire Grants Help Desk is open Monday through Friday. So, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know anything about it, so I will have to, or maybe Mr. Allen, Chief Allen knows something about it, or Nancy knows something about it. So, we got Otarma talking about cyber at risk, talking about either not giving your passwords out, changing your passwords periodically, different things like that. I think, one more thing, I sent the paperwork. We received paperwork from the roadside park. through a Terracon. They are the,
They're the ones gonna do the boring.
thank you.
Not like-
And Bob had to, Mr. Collins had to sign it, and then we had to send it back to them. Well, the first one I sent, had the top information, did not have his signature on it, so I had to resubmit it to the gentleman. His name is Yogesh Reggae, so, or however you pronounce that. I'm sure I'm butchering that gentleman's name. I apologize, but that was the information that we have so far. On road so far. I think that is it. Yeah, that's it from the course.
I want to add one more thing since
Okay.
people will be watching this. Tonight I sent a email up to Laura Adcock at OEMA, and I reconfigured the cost estimate for Young Road. It's about the same cost, but I just changed the structure of it to include, after going out there today and looking at it, I felt like you needed to put some more stone on the road because we've had a lot of erosion there. Some ditching, some other drainage stuff I didn't see before. And I made the wall shorter, so the cost is about the same. Willie was asking about that. But in the email, I also included, I talked to Bob a while back about photographs. Bob had photographs that from 2020. I didn't get there until July 29th, but I stated in this email that Bob had photographs on May 11th that showed the road was still open. And then on July 6th, it slipped enough that it had been closed. There were 2 rain events during that period, May 18th to the 23rd and June 3rd to the 10th, that were later, several months later, declared state disaster relief funding based on the aggregate amount of damage done in southeastern Ohio. We don't know when these events happen, when they're going to declare that, but they'll signify, sometimes it's 3 days. In this case, it was 5 days with one and 7 days with the other, and in March they only allowed 3 days, from the 20th to 22nd. So going back and trying to tie it to those time frames, I think we have effectively done it with the photographs you provided me. So tonight, I wrote this long email to Laura Adcock at OEMA, and I attached photographs. I reconfigured the photographs, what I did the last from 5 to 7 tonight, and show kind of a timeline of events. You guys can see them. I only brought 3 copies of that email, but I've got other copies of the new estimates with the timeline of events on it. And so anybody wants copies of this stuff, can contact me, we'll send it to them. It's a proactive
I can also
effort.
make copies, they won't be in color.
Okay, there's some colors, there's 2 more estimates. And so anyways, it's an approach to try to go back and tie it to that disaster from a year ago. And see, and so she's gonna take it to the director of the Ohio EMA the next few days and try to get some funding for it that way. It's usually 75%. I don't know how much they've got available, but I'm working on that, and then whatever we get from them, we'll go back to Ohio Public Works Commission and try to get the emergency slip money from them. And sometimes they work together to do it. They'll communicate back and forth. The lady that Donna Kirkbride was at OPWC for the last many years, and she retired in mid-November. So there's another person who's taking her place. So we got to get to know her, get familiar with her. But anyways, I kind of left here. I took up a lot of your time, so I had all this stuff with me. I should have laid it. I got to thinking about everybody on there because you guys weren't primarily interested in Young Road, but they will be. So
Yes, sir. Yes.
That kind of gives them an update on. So I drove back.
I'm sure they'll be thankful for the info.
Thank you. Yeah, so they can.
Thank you again, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Sorry to come back and interrupt your meeting.
That's all right.
You can come back again.
Whole business. We got the old dock truck running, so we didn't have to tow it to the national. We found a problem in-house. I'll fix it.
And that was,
He wants to know what the problem was.
solenoid fell off, what, I see what it called that, CIA valve or something. What it does, it gotta have a certain amount of oil pressure before the injectors to make it run, okay? Well, the coil, the nut come off of the coil, the coil goes on that valve, and the coil fell down in between the frame and the motor. We didn't know nothing about that. So, the guy brings it, we had some parts orders through International, the guy brought the parts. I talked to the service manager up there that morning before that guy come. He says, you got a guy coming to bring you parts? He said, he worked on these for years, and he'll probably can tell you what the problem is.
Okay, cool. Just curious.
As soon as I raised the hood, he walked over to the motor and he said, right there's the problem. So,
See,
Good deal.
anybody that's not familiar with that unit, it sits right underneath the injector pump, and it's not visible to anybody that doesn't know to look for it.
Yeah, there's not a lot, normally there's not anything under the injector pump, but okay.
but anyway, we got it going. I think it's going pretty good now there. As far as I know, that never complains. Usually guys complain to me if it's not. About all the old business.
No, I think that was it. Yeah, move on.
On new business, I have two people that's interested in the old township hall over Lockridge. One lives on one side of it, one lives on the other side of it. They want to buy it. Gonna have to get a little bit of legal advice on it because it's got an underground tank in it, which we took care of. It's filled full of sand. And everything's been approved through EPA on it, where we can sell that with that underground tank in there. If so, I just soon get rid of it and keep it, because we're not gonna use it for nothing. It's just a building, there's no septic tank here, there's no water in it.
Minimal amount of real estate. I don't think it would measure a half acre. It's sandwiched between these two people that are interested in it.
You know where's that?
It's right here by Shaw's,
Yeah.
right across from the school.
Right across 53.
Two gentlemen that we were talking about.
I believe so, yes.
So, we can sell it, I just soon get rid of it, what we want. It needs painted, needs some work done on it. I really don't wanna invest any money in it. So,
And that'll be something that Kirk's office will have to take care of, because right now, because we're a government entity, we do not pay tax on any of the land that we actually have. We have tickets that come in each year, but we do not pay taxes on this, so I don't know how all that is done, and what the process is to take care of that.
I don't,
So, I'm just saying that's something that,
I know when we sold the other piece of ground, we had a little piece of ground that was go great it is, the engineer, the prosecutor had to take care of all that. Government land.
Have they made you an offer, or
Pardon?
have they made you an offer, or?
No, well, probably, I told him I'd have to talk to, see if we could even sell it on account of the underground tank in there.
I'm
I
sure
told
you
him I'd
could,
get back with him as soon as I find something out.
I'm sure you
about
could sell
that.
it, you just have to disclose it.
And we'll probably have to auction it off. That's something I don't know about.
What's the cutoff? You know what the cutoff is for requiring an auction or allowing just to be able to sell it?
No, I don't, that's the reason we got to talk to Kirk Shaw about it, to get legal advice on it, I don't know. I knew the county engineer, when they sold theirs up there, going East State Street, they had the auction in on. But that, well, million, and that ain't gonna buy it.
Are they wanting to buy it together, or are they each one on one themselves?
Separate.
Separate, yeah.
Wants themselves.
We'll have to get that, find out about that, and see what we can do.
Yeah, cause I don't know if there has to be, if they have to send a written letter stating that they wanna purchase that piece of property, I don't know. Let's be honest, gentlemen, I've never had this come up, so
We'll have to get
I have no
Friday
idea.
out.
Well, if it's not gonna go, I mean, I don't know what the cutoff is, but I know there's a cutoff for what you guys are allowed to sell.
Well, there's
without-
two different cutoffs on things, 25,000 for certain things and 50,000 for other certain
Right,
things.
and I don't know what that falls,
I don't know
how
where that will
much,
fall in there at, so.
but do you think it's worth 25,000?
Pardon?
Do you think that property is worth 25,000?
City buildings in, I don't know, I don't think so.
Well, then you could just ask the two of them to, if it's legal for you to sell it that way, you could just ask the two of the people, well, what are you willing to pay?
We might do that with
And take the
Go all
highest,
out.
yeah.
on other old business, we need to set up an engineer end of the year meeting. Chris said he could be here on the 28th,
Right.
7 o'clock. And Willie said that was good with him, so I wanna make a motion that we have a end of the year meeting at 7 o'clock on January the 28th,
December the 20th,
December the
December
28th.
28th, yeah.
Also,
which is a Tuesday night. Okay, I'm just saying, for anybody that didn't know what the 28th was, it was a Tuesday.
and also following the end of the year meeting, we'll have our organizational meeting.
And it will follow, it will just be right directly behind it. For anyone that doesn't know what we do at the end of the year meeting, I pay what bills I am able to at the end of the year. Usually payroll is given, any type of thing, anything that needs to be taken care of before the end of the year. We usually do not have a meeting in January because we have one in December. If somebody decides that we need to do that, then we can do that.
20 years I've been in here, we've never had one in January.
I know, but I'm just making the statement that it's,
Temporary appropriations.
yes, I present you all with your temporary appropriations, how much I think it's gonna take for us to run for the first 3 months. Because we also have to look at, basically, we don't have any more money that's coming in, except for our,
Yes,
gas tax. So there's very little funding that comes in January, February, March. We don't get it until we get our real estate, the first chunk, usually the end of May, or
Spring
the
settlement.
beginning of May. So we have to be, it's really tight January, February, March, as far as what we have, as far as repairs and gravel and different things like that. So that's what we do. And the organizational meeting is, they decide which trustees are gonna do which roads. If we are going to use the handbook, that if there's any additions or corrections to the handbook, we do that in the organizational meeting as well. So there may have been a few things that I missed, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, it lasts about 10 minutes.
And it may be longer depending on if somebody has something or has questions. And you said it was at, did you say 9 o'clock Tuesday morning? Or did you say
7 o'clock Tuesday evening.
7 o'clock Tuesday evening. Cause I didn't know what Willie was working, so. Or we need to be off that day or not. We have it at night and the rest is over. It'll be a long meeting. I have a motion on that in a second.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Has anybody got anything else? Got anything else?
Yeah, I've got 3 donations for building rental, $7,500 total, 15 cash, 25 in check. Our 550 truck. Again, if it's Donwood. Parts back order this time, several sensors. And a EGR cooler. And the EGR cooler is the one that's on back order, not just parts order, but back order. So that could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months or longer. And that's an important piece of equipment in the wintertime, and it looks like we're gonna be without it.
Is that the recall? I'm sorry, there was
No,
another piece that
no.
came in, it was a recall, and I
No,
left
it's
it on
not
the
good.
desk.
That,
I'm sorry, John, I didn't make
that
a copy
piece of
of it.
paper or that correspondence was sent with the truck, and the, Ford service desk has it, so. They will address both the recall and the parts situation. And another tidbit, the gentleman said that it would be on extended warranty, so whatever the cost is, Ford's supposed to eat it. At least that was the information at this time.
Part of the pollution control system.
Yes, that's what it is.
And if we've had, correct me if I'm wrong, if we've had to pay out of pocket for anything that is related to that, they will come back and reimburse us for that.
I'm not clear on that, he just said the warranty, extended
Okay.
warranty covered it.
Okay,
There was no question about us paying anything,
okay.
or no, yeah.
That's gonna be sad for this winter, trying to maintain roads without that truck, especially we have snow, because. That's what,
We'll have to get by with the pickup and our old trusty.
Yep.
We did get the bed hinge put back on it today.
we'll do the best we can. If nothing else, we can, if the snow gets too deep, we got a grader out there. I've run it plowed snow before, don't like to. Anything else?
Work continues on the Hall Road. Cochran / Elko, or whatever name they're gonna dream up for the company, has furnished a lot of stone in the past 2 weeks. Their cost to maintain that Hall Road, which is the Blackwood portion. Did some extensive ditching on it. That portion looks pretty good right now. Needs to have some more ditching done, which we hope to address. Done some repairs on Jordan Run last Friday, gonna finish it tomorrow.
War department got anything?
Yeah, we're applying for a matching grant from the forestry department up to $10,000. And we can put that toward ATV or anything to do with forestry park.
Is that a matching grant, we have to match that grant, or?
It's a matching grant up to $10,000.
So if you get 10,000, grant 10,000, we gotta match 5, or match
No, we have to
That's
match 10.
match the 10?
Max 10.
Okay.
Well, we can spend over, but then they'll match up to 10.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I make a motion, we, do the grant,
Second.
that's what they're out there for.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
I got,
And I've got an invoice here from Fire Safety, I forwarded it to you, but there's a hard copy of it if you want. For the hydrant valves and the hydrant wrench for $26.55, so we set up hydrant operations if needed.
does that include the water valve, the 2-inch water valve? Is that part of that
Yes.
order?
The
Okay.
2 hydrant valves.
No, not hydrant valves. The valves in the ground, it takes a 2-inch square.
This is the invoice. It said something.
Sometimes those hydrants are turned off with an underground valve.
Oh, no,
Oh, well,
I was gonna
we
talk-
talked about
I was
that.
gonna talk to Derek down there and see if he'd happen to have one we could get off them maybe.
Oh, Tupper's Plains and Chester.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okey dokey.
You already bought this, or we just have to pay the
yeah,
bill?
you guys already approved it there,
Yeah, we
I
approved
thought
it.
we did.
yeah, and I just got it, yesterday.
So you already have it ordered, and it should be coming.
I've got it,
Oh, you got it?
yeah, I got it yesterday.
Okay, good.
That's all I've got.
We gotta address that there, Mr. McBride's letter there. Exactly how to state in it. We haven't.
Okay.
We're gonna repair the roads and get the money. That's all I can put in it. I don't know how to state what he wants, but
I'll know if I make a motion that we repair Young Road as funds become available.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have any questions or anything really before? Okay. I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Sure.
Either one of us. Feel free. You're part of it now,
Do
buddy.
you, before,
You know, you're in there.
before we go any further, we have it in here that Ransom stated that Young Road will be repaired as funds are available. Do we
As
need
soon as the funds are available.
repaired as funds are available?
Yeah.
Or as funds are available? Okay, do we need to place in there that Jeff Maidens is working on trying to get us funding? Do we need to put anything else in here, is all I'm asking? In our minutes.
Well, Jeff Maiden is getting funding, and also Don Goff is trying to get funding to, township, ODOT township stimulus money, which is, I think it's part of that 250,000. If I'm reading this right, that we put in for Kincaid and,
Yeah, we were able to, the county was also able to put in some money as well.
but Jeff don't think we're gonna get much money out of that either. We've had quite a few conversations on that, and he thinks if we end up $2,000, we might be lucky, so. If that's gonna be divided up in 14 townships in that county, well, that's 1,103 townships in the state of Ohio, like he said, so. We'll use whatever we get. We'll put to good use.
Are we still?
I'm
where
doing,
are
yes,
we?
cause I'm, just a minute, we're gonna amend that particular. Okay. You guys had just put, Ransom stated that Young Road will be repaired as funds are available. Bob made the motion, Ransom seconded.
Ransom made the
I'm
motion.
sorry, Ransom made the motion, Bob seconded. What I want to do is redo it and state that Ransom stated that Young Road will be repaired as funds are available. Carthage Township is working with the Athens County Engineer's Office to secure funding. No?
I don't see nothing wrong with it, that way it's saying that we are trying. And Jeff's helping us try, so I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to read as.
I'm just trying to make it a little more specific, so if somebody comes back and asks, then there's a little bit of information that we have that's stating that we are working, or Jeff is assisting us. Well, I can put it in here however you guys want to.
That's fine with me.
Then I'll amend my motion as so read. Then we'll have to redo the whole thing. Second it, vote on it. I made the motion, you want to second it?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. You gotta be a little patient, man. My hearing aids are back in the shop again. So.
Sorry, Bob.
Now where are we?
New business.
Still new fire department is entertaining the purchase of a 4x4 brush truck. We need a vehicle with four-wheel drive capability and quick response for brush fire. I have found one that I think pretty well suits our needs. It's a used vehicle. It's got 40,000 miles on it. I can show you pictures on the internet of it. Talked to the bank today, Hawken Valley. They see no reason why we can't finance it.
Where's it at?
Iowa. It's not, it's out of the question to go look at it, so you've gotta trust the chief and the department out there.
My thing, not fully against anybody in there, but my thing is, before I buy a vehicle, I like to look at it.
Well, normally I do too, I don't disagree with that at all.
Because you don't know what you're gonna get.
But being a piece of fire equipment and the reliability of what the chief told me, I had a phone conversation with him. Sounded like a great individual. Hard to make judgments over a phone call, but,
I mean, I just don't like to buy a vehicle unless I look at it.
well, they're so few and far between, it's very difficult to go look at. Even the apparatus dealers very seldom have 4x4 pickups. This is basically what this is, a pickup with a water tank and a pump in the back of it. Of course, it's got a winch and it's got some guards and other things that you would expect to see on a piece of fire equipment.
What do they want?
61,000.
How much?
61,000. And as fire apparatuses go, that's not unreasonable. I know if I were gonna buy a pickup, that would be, I would choke on that, being a used one. But
What year was it?
it's 2009. It's got 46,000, and I'll have to go back and look at the pictures. It's on the screen right now. It's got a 300-gallon water tank. I think it's a 250-gallon minute pump. I believe it's a waterless pump. It's a Honda independent electric start. Like I said, it's four-wheel drive. It's got a 12 or a 15,000-pound winch on the front of it. Got a brush guard on the front of it. The radio, siren, lights all come with it.
You gotta remember, we're still paying on the building.
Exactly. Steps, since it is a four-wheel drive vehicle and it's higher, so it was built to crash through the brush with. And that's the definition of a brush truck. I would hate to be driving a brand new one, run through a thorn bush with it, scratch it from one end, from the headlight to the tail light.
How much is a new one?
Excuse me?
How much is a new one?
A new one? Anywhere from, maybe it runs a big gambit, 400,000 up.
Why are they getting rid of it? Is
Why-
my question.
Most fire departments have a planned, Recycle.
Retiring their vehicles.
Every 10 years. or
they've
so.
had two of them. This is, it could, yeah, we use 10 years. It could vary. They had two of them. This is a 9 and the 11. 2011, they already sold it. What else the truck got on?
Why don't you go ahead and proceed and see what our payments would be?
Okay, I can do
And we'll
that.
bring it to the next meeting.
Okay. That is considered still there, because
You're right.
there's a lot of interest
I
in
know.
it, according to Chief. A lot of interest in it.
But I
It's a lot of money to finance blind. You might get stuck.
We're still, like I say, we're still paying on the building over there.
How much is the payment, bill it payment, Gary?
About 4,000 and some.
It's an annual, right?
Yes.
But
And
we
just
can
remember
say
one
five
thing, our
now.
funding next year ain't gonna be as high as we've got in the bank right now. Right?
Right.
Yeah,
This is money that left over from a lawsuit,
Yes, sir.
so.
So, what was the final figure that the, American Recovery Act gave us?
Oh,
COVID
the
funds.
ARPA, sorry.
160-some thousand.
Yeah, we, the first section is like $86,000, so we don't have it back.
Okay, and I was reading somewhere, not somewhere, but I was reading today in the guidelines that you can use some, if not all of that, to, how did they say it? I can't quote the exact wording, but it meant to pay off your loans.
I know we can
And you
use
can look
4,
that up on the auditor's site.
I know we can use 4% of it for whatever we want to.
You
Yeah,
still gotta be
that's what I'm
careful though, cause I'm afraid there's gonna be a lot of people that, especially the first round of, that, you know, we've heard what they've used them for, and it's like, I don't know how they got it passed, but it is what it is.
We don't even know when we're gonna get it yet, right?
No. I assume it'll be sometime this month.
Anyway, I wanted to share that much with everybody.
See what the payments will be and we'll talk about next meeting.
Will do.
Give me a little more time to think about it.
And we can, I mean, that's not the only 4x4 truck. We can still keep looking. There might be more closer.
Sure. And we might find something
But you-
closer where we can,
You look at the pictures after the meeting, or right now if you want to, anybody can look at them. It is a sweet looking vehicle. They've really taken care of it. Underneath for 2009, pickups around here, if you look underneath them, there ain't nothing but a ball of rust. There are photos of that truck underneath. It's still got the stickers on the frame from the factory.
I don't think they use salt in Iowa.
I don't think so.
That's another plus.
Yeah.
So, just,
another thing we're
just
gonna have-
information I'm bringing up.
I appreciate that. Another thing we're gonna have to look at down the road, I was reading in the paper last night where the state wants to do away with gasoline tax. And if they do away with the gasoline tax, that's gonna kill us.
Yeah, okay.
That's
That's
where
really
your-
gonna hurt us.
Because that's where your wages are paid from, and that's where the workers' wages are paid
Yeah.
from.
Okay,
So-
while I'm on a roll and in the truck mode, Chris found us a dump truck. You wanna
Right.
elaborate on that, you want me to go ahead with it, or?
Well, since it's already, you guys gonna buy it, I wouldn't
Well,
want to say too much about it.
No.
Nelsonville.
Anyway, Chris found us a dump truck, found another dump truck in Cambridge. He wants 17,000 for it.
This is for the township, this isn't for the
Yeah,
fire
this is the dump
department.
truck.
No,
This
it's
is-
for the
this is-
township.
This is road trucks.
But right now, we were gonna go look at it, but right now, there's a guy getting a loan for it, so we'll have to wait and see, I reckon, and see if that guy's loan.
Yeah, well, what I was wondering is if we shouldn't earmark that much money for this truck purchase in the case that their deal falls through.
Well, can.
Because if 3 days from now we learn that that truck's still available and we go look at it and man, that's what we want, but now we gotta wait till next month to okay it.
No, just in this month.
Hmm?
Just in this month.
Well, all right, yeah, but this is a different circumstance. So we have year-end meeting, we could cover it then, but on a normal monthly meeting, we'd have to wait another 30 days.
Well, we've got 85,000 in the gas tax right now. I'm reading this right. But I gotta have, what's that, it was 18,000 to pay Buckley Brothers for the engineering and stuff on Young Road. I have to pay them up front on, Park Road. I have to pay those up front, and then we send it to Laura and she reimburses. So how long that takes, I don't know. You take 18,000 off of that.
67.
too
I was
quick.
trying to do it in my head too, sir.
Big number for me to do in my head.
You also have to remember that I also have to pay wages, and at least 5,000 of it will come off of the.
That
employee
leaves us
wage truck.
67,000. That would bring us down to $50,527. I think we'd still be all right, cause we got some coming in every month,
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So,
Cause I don't have November yet either, so. Cause it always comes in at the end of the month, or in the beginning of the month for the last month.
right. So I'm gonna make a motion, we go ahead and look at the truck.
We had set aside funds in,
We'll set aside $17,000 to buy that truck with us. If we like it. And we may have to buy some stone out of that there, gas tax money this spring too, because 22,000 road and bridge ain't gonna last so long.
$17,000, yes.
I made a motion on the floor,
Second said motion.
all in favor? Aye. Another thing, we're out of grit.
That's, go for it. That was gonna be my next.
What we have is in the shed. I wanna make a motion to have Steve haul 2 loads.
That's what I suggested to him this afternoon, and I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
2 loads, that'd be 30 tons, I'd get the size.
Yeah, like I told him in our conversation this afternoon, it's all weather dependent, and we can't predict that. If we don't have any snow at all, we don't need any grits.
Right,
But if we have snow, we're gonna need a bunch.
well, last time we run out, I had Danny Manfield haul for me. He got 2 loads and there was out up there, and I told him to get the rest of them. Get it here early. I think they have Cookers in Elsonville or someplace up there to get them.
Yeah, if he goes that way, that's probably closer to Logan.
Not the only place you get it right now.
But if he goes down to Little Hocker, Shelby down at the gravel plant,
They don't have it down there.
I thought he told me he hauled there last time.
Wherever we can get it,
Yeah,
wherever we can get it, we need to get 2 loads.
wherever.
Anything else? Doc?
Well, did we address sending up 2651, the air leak?
Oh, in the air tanks.
Did you get an appointment on that, or did you hear anything?
Didn't hear anything back from Luke today, so we're gonna wait. And in the morning, if we don't hear anything, we're gonna call the Phoenix, see what they can tell us.
Alright. You need to get it fixed, we're got an air leak, and ain't gonna do you no
Right.
good.
Right.
Well, I make a motion that we approve sending 2651, isn't it? 51. 2650? 50?
50.
2650.
Yeah, what they said, 2650. To service the air leak, air loss situation.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Anything else?
so where does it have to go for repair?
What was that?
Where does it have to go for repair?
We don't know yet.
We don't know, it's got an air leak, but they don't know if it's coming out of the air
Some-
tank or one of the air tanks or what. It's going all
It was
over.
engine problems, we have sent it to Matheny's before,
Oh, okay.
but this is not near the intent.
Has to be repaired by a certified mechanic. It's an emergency vehicle. Anything else?
We had a new graduate, fire school, 36-hour fire school.
Haven't heard for sure yet.
Oh, it's just him telling us.
He
Didn't
claims
scratch
he
that.
passed the test and all that, we're just waiting to hear back from the Ohio EMS part.
Scratch that, and I was gonna announce that we had a new
Right,
36-hour member, but
we've got a new application.
right now I got to.
For volunteer.
Yep,
Oh, this is-
that's
yes,
for the
this is
paid,
volunteer, sorry.
paid department.
Oh, my God.
Who was the applicant? Who was the applicant?
Shoot.
TJ? What TJ was it?
No, he's never come by. I don't know what happened to him. He was gonna come over at 180, pick it up, never showed up. Haven't heard anything more from him. But this other one's a female. Gives two people, it actually gives three females.
Okay. Now, there's probably more, but I can't think of it right now.
No, I don't want to make a motion to close the meeting.
That's the important stuff. Second.
All in favor? Aye.